A very good friend of mine just lost her mom. She loved her mom so much that when her mom passed on, there was left a huge vacuum in her emotional life as a daughter. It may take some time before she can move on from her mother's death. Grief is a very individual process. Different people go through grief differently from everybody else. Some are able to move on quite quickly. Others may need weeks, even months, to move on. There are people who seem to find it difficult to live a normal life years after the death of a loved one. Many people feel a numbness in their soul for some time and then get hit with a strong yearning for the person who died. Others are in a constant state of anxiety. They have trouble sleeping, and they feel lifeless in their waking hours. There are some who are overcome by guilt. They run old arguments in their heads with the person who just died and think about words that they regret they've said or words they've failed to say and wonder how things might have turned out if they just said the right words. Some will listen to a song, glance at an old photograph, or get a sniff of a familiar scent, or find themselves passing by a place that is filled with so much memories, triggering strong emotions, and they may find themselves crying uncontrollably. This can happen anytime, anywhere, and without warning. How can one move on? How can one come to terms with the loss of a loved one? I think, first of all, you need to be honest in your grief. Allow yourself enough time to grieve. You do not have to be anxious about it. Grief is normal, very natural, and very healthy. How you grieve is as unique as your personality. There's no one way of grieving. It is a very personal, emotional process. But however way you do it, by grieving, you are on your way to moving on. The intensity of your grief will eventually subside. You do not and cannot rush it. Allow it to take its course. You will survive this by the grace of God. Just put your trust in Him. And the beauty of putting your trust in God is the assurance that He is sovereign even beyond this life. Especially if you know that your loved one who passed on has placed his or her life in the hands of God and has acknowledged the Lordship of Jesus. Then you are assured that your loved one is in a much better place. This is the assurance that the Apostle Paul himself gave to those who have lost their loved ones as well during his time. Paul said in his letter to the Thessalonians, "But we do not want you to be uninformed, brothers, about those who are asleep, that you may not grieve as others do who have no hope. For since we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, through Jesus, God will bring with Him those who have fallen asleep." Knowing that God is in control over our lives, and knowing that those who have passed on are in a better place, will help us move on from grief. And as we learn to move on, by the grace of God, always remember, faith matters too.